RWBY Volume 6, Chapter 12. I am really mixed. So, on one hand, the first half of the episode is boring. Ignoring that Maria was shot last episode and now she's totally fine, Oscar's idea is pretty good, but the way they try to pull it off is fucking terrible. Why don't you, I don't know, get Crow to flap over and shoot it immediately the moment he unbirds? I mean, you already ignored that he could have gotten up the tower Blake was meant to with ease and body the hell out of Adam if the guy showed up. Why not have him be useful here? And why not have Weiss do it? I mean, Weiss could just make a glyph from far away that prevents the missiles from being fired, or block the missiles so when they get fired, they blow up immediately. In fact, later when Ruby jumps into the cannon, why isn't that Nora? Why didn't you talk to Nora, who could have jumped in and would have been unaffected by the lightning? It would also be a good backup plan in case the mech was still capable of fighting. You did not know that that would necessarily completely decommission the thing. What if you needed a heavy hitter for a second big hit? Nora would have been supercharged. Why? Why? Because Ruby's the main fucking character, and she had to make another fucking speech. By God, you have no idea how fucking bored I was when she started speeching. Everything before and after was boring, but watchable. A solid high 4 to low 5 out of 10, but this shit is a straight 1. I mean, hey, at least there was the slightest bit of tension. I was legitimately worried that Maria would not be able to see the finale of the fight. She is the only good character. Caroline and Crow get a pass, I guess. I also love how the big ass mech takes so long to fire after charging up here. Like, what if it just blasted Ruby to pieces? Hell, what if Crescent Rose straight flew down and decapitated Ruby up the Crow quarter? Anyway, onto the half I actually liked. Despite how mind-bendingly bored I was at this point, after the last episode, I was excited to see the fight between these three. Admittedly, the scars of Volume 5 are still more prominent than Adam's scars, and really I wasn't expecting anything out of him. Like he's all, "What makes you think you can beat me?"
Adam's strong.
Ignoring the teleporting characters at times, the fight was actually pretty decent. Of course, I don't know why Blake just stood there waiting for Gamble Shroud to doff her in the forehead, nor do I know why Yang's shaking does basically nothing for the fight, and you see, this is what really bothers me. Ignoring that I already made that video on how fucking atrocious the arc was in Volumes 3 to 5, Volume 6 seems to be trying to mend some of the flaws of Volume 5, and there are a lot of flaws to mend. One of those flaws should have been Yang's shaking. It should have come into play more often and gotten the people she cared about in trouble. That way she could learn to overcome it and become a stronger person when she realizes what she's doing to those around her, instead of being the character that every single character in the show already is, where they push through their problems to help others anyway. Every single character does that. You could have made Yang special. Now, ignoring that her personality hasn't changed at all, in fact the best I can say is she's less hot-headed, which is barely a change when she comes guns blazing into a fight by ramming a motorcycle into a guy's scon, it bothers me that Blake was already in a bad spot when she started shaking. It bothers me that Blake stopped her shaking last episode. If anything, having Yang be less inclined to let go of Blake, and then having Yang's hesitations and issues cause Blake to go flying off the bridge, thus leading to Yang coming to a realization that her fears are weakening her and getting others in trouble, and as a result having her overcome them, would have been more interesting than just, Blake is in trouble, I should probably stop shaking. In fact, it's snowy out there, so it's completely possible that Yang is just really cold. I mean, she's so stupid she's wearing an outfit that doesn't even cover her midriff in a place that's just made of winter. Honestly though, I really did love the effects for Adam's semblance. They look a lot better than Yang's weird flaming hair and stupid face and really weird posture. Oh, and yeah, Adam pretty much gets one shot for a second time. Like, every other hit looks like it does nothing to him, but this is just like, gone. And man, I honestly do believe that Adam loved that sword. I know I love my swords. Now, if only they weren't blunt. Adam then gets Shoryuken in the most awkward looking uppercut I've seen in a long time that sounds like it has all the impact of a wiffle ball bat and looks really stupid. Oh, then Adam dies, and he's just like, oh, and falls off the bridge. Like, okay. So pretty much the whole fight was them just barely being phased by his attacks, then killing him after 2 good hits, so did they really earn that? I mean, I fucking despise Adam to both of our cores, but I mean, that's a really pathetic way to go out. What really bothers me though is that Adam is supposed to be this big, important figure in the stories of Blake and Yang, as their own, somewhat personal mini main antagonist. But like, what has he done? He didn't do anything in the show proper till Volume 3. He made one cameo prior and he cut off Yang's arm, but that's it. We didn't get any sort of character or personality from him. All we got was that he wants to fuck Blake really hard and he wants to fuck her life up even harder. He doesn't show up in person in Volume 4, and if he did, then I forgot and it wasn't important. Then in Volume 5, he became a joke with over-the-top coyness unbefitting his character, And he's getting one shot that immediately ruined him as a threat to anyone with half a brain who doesn't just take all the bullshit the show spews out in excess of that question, despite the fact that the show is trying to be a serious adult show wherein you have to question things because it's aiming for a more mature audience. Show don't tell. You can show that Adam is strong, or you could just tell and show him getting obliterated. All you're doing is telling us that he's dangerous. It doesn't mean he is if you show him getting completely destroyed by Blake. You see, I'm really glad Adam is dead, because I want him gone, but the, for lack of a better term, execution wasn't great. But hey, I won't lie, I was grinning like a fucking idiot when he fell into that water. I was happy. Even though Cinder also survived into water, and Blake also got impaled, so Adam could probably come back, especially seeing as all three of them had this happen in the second last episode of the volume. I am somewhat bothered that Adam didn't use the shotgun part when he lost his sword to, shoot dust rounds, like how you would with a real gun in RWBY. Also, cue obligatory crying after the kill. Now guys, you'd better pull off killer's remorse, right, okay? You'd fucking better. A main character just committed a murder on someone she once knew intimately. It's the first murder of her life, and she was directly involved, looked him right in the face when she impaled him, and also watched his last moments. Do it right. Oh, then a bunch of Grimm show up, and I'm like, it's more fucking Grimm. We all know how this is ending. You're on to the last episode of the volume, and instead of having Watts and Tyrion, you give us Grimm. And a pretty stupid looking Grimm at that. I think the head and torso are nice, but the arms are too long, and honestly, it looks like it has a camel toe. But as a massive, massive, massive fan of kaiju films and kaiju in general, I can't bring myself to hate this thing. I also can't bring myself to question how the ocean is only knee-deep to it, because that's also just a kaiju thing. I mean, I love Pacific Rim, and that film has Jaegers just rising out of an ocean that was previously deep enough to submerge them entirely, but also being shallow enough for them to fight without only being knee-deep. So it gets a pass. Of course, I really fail to see the threat in this creature, and am expecting it will die next episode. Honestly, it kind of sucks. I would love more kaiju-sized Grimm, but I also don't expect it to kill anyone or really cause any havoc, and if it does, then it'll be the exception and not the rule of Grimm. So, that was chapter 12. Was it better than 11? Yeah, I'd say so. I'm still very, very mixed on it, but I certainly can't say that I liked or disliked it. It did the things that pissed me off, like RWBY speeches and wasting Yang's character, but also did things that pandered to me, like killing Adam and kaiju. Overall average episode. Please be good, chapter 13, and end this volume on a high note. Also, the only kaiju I really dislike is Gabara, in case you're wondering. This is not nearly as bad as Gabara.